Yes, here we go.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Barcelona. We are transmitting from Solar Orchard Garden. That is a wonderful program during 5 days that we developed for you here in Barcelona on the site and online in different channels through YouTube and also in Mozilla Hub. And today, to kick off the exhibitions, we will present our innovative and very special artwork that is teamwork. The name is Stargazer. Stargazer is a project that was born in collaboration from several artists and curators that were in contact before and now, but before because we produced also another artist residency in February in Espronceda. And now I think I will give the word to our curator that is a little far away from Barcelona, but is very near by this connection, is Santeri Suominen, that is in Finland. Please, Santeri, could you introduce yourself? Thank you.
Yes. Good evening from Finland, from very rainy and gloomy Finland at the moment. It's nice to be here, though, connected to all of you and all of our watchers online. So my name is Santeri Suominen. I work at Helsinki XR Center as the curator of VR and AR experiences, and I've been the visiting curator in this work for Solar Orchard Garden in Barcelona for Ars Electronica called Stargazer, and I'm very honored to be even in the same sentence with this very talented and gifted artists who have been working to create this artwork. And maybe we could start out with doing a round of introductions of the involved artists. So please go ahead, Cenk, could you start?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Santeri. Thank you, Alejandra. Hello, everyone. My name is Cenk Gunzelis. I'm originally from Istanbul and based in Austria, as well teaching at the University of Innsbruck, where I'm developing my research project dealing with the virtual bodies and virtual spaces and their effect on PTSD therapy. And yeah, I'm one of the artists of this group, and I'm very honored and glad to work with these wonderful genius people. And I would like to pass now the speech to Kris.
Hi, everyone. I am Kris Pilcher from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a mixed reality and installation artist, and I'm really excited to be a part of Stargazer and a part of this amazing collective of artists who have come together from all over the world to make this project possible. So I hope everyone enjoys. I will pass the mic to Mohsen.
Hello, my name is Mohsen Hazlati. I'm a media artist from Iran, Shiraz, and currently in Barcelona. I'm so glad to take part of this amazing project and work together with this.
Mohsen is a little frozen.
Let's see if Mohsen comes back.
Really genius people.
Oh no, there must be a connection problem.
Perhaps we change.
There's a connection.
Yes.
We change to Matthew for the moment.
Oh, sure. Hey, yo, I'm Matthew Gant, independent artist composer. I've been based out of New York City for the past 10 years, the current lead state. I do a lot of research and work with spatial audio, experimental music, new compositional practices for virtual reality, for augmented reality. Yeah, no, I'm really grateful to be part of this team, to be here. So thank you all for coming out.
And over to Josecarlos.
Jose, come here.
Oh, Burkar, are you there?
Yeah, yes, I'm here. But unfortunately, I can't get the webcam to work. I'm Burkhard. I'm based in Innsbruck, and I'm doing the Unity stuff together with Cenk and the rest of these wonderful people.
Okay.
All right, and now we have Josecarlos too in the picture. Cenk, can you unmute yourself?
Sorry, guys. Hi. Jose.
Hi. Hi all. My turn to talk? Yeah. Okay. My name is Josecarlos Florez. I'm a digital artist from Peru. Right now I'm living and working in Barcelona. My interest is to work projects that involve robotics, developers of software, hardware, digital fabrication, Internet of Things, physical data visualization, and in the last months, working on developed tools to create audiovisual live performance for immersive environments. So a few months ago, I was working on VR in the Mozilla residence, and right now we are working on 360 content for the Dome, for Ars Electronica.
Wonderful.
Awesome, thank you. Please, Alejandra, could you tell a bit about yourself and your role in this project?
Yes, thank you, Santeri. Yes, my name is Alejandro Martin. I'm head of innovation in Espronceda and also co-founder of the platform and the project Immensiva that wants to bring artists and creatives in contact with advanced technologies, but also with artistic and creative concepts and the teamwork. That is the main thing that we are promoting in our residencies, that the work that is a result from the team, it could be more creative and more impressive. And also in the past, I was working as a curator. Also in my old past, I was an artist, and I understand very, very well the artist mind. I'm very happy to be here in this team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have a fantastic multinational group working all over the world in different time zones, putting together an very interesting piece of art. And the themes of this festival of Ars Electronica are uncertainty, reality, ecology, humanity, and technology, if I remember all of them. And well, if we start with some of the themes, actually, before we go into Stargazer, I think uncertainty is something that has been a really strong motif in these times, of course, but also in Stargazer, because I remember a while back when we set out to conceptualize this work, Stargazer, we had a lot of uncertainty in our minds, and our presence at the site was uncertain, and it still is, as we are stranded in different parts of the world. But all of us are connected still very heavily in some cybernetic way into Barcelona, and this kind of communication technology in general is just a very powerful and but fragile force in my thoughts. It can bind us together over a distance, but due to some kind of unforeseen bug or network error or hardware malfunction or whatever, it can just perish in a second, and just like that. And the more we rely on technology to connect, all the more this uncertainty will scare us. So in these months, we've had to rely very heavily in technology to stay in touch with our families, our friends, and colleagues. But do you guys have any thoughts in this central theme of uncertainty? Is the technology a force in our lives which can kind of alleviate and free us from this uncertainty, or does it add to it?
It was a question.
Yes, it was a question.
Open question. Open
Yes.
question.
Yes.
I just throw in, I mean, I think it's interesting that I think this uncertainty, both in the technology and the context, has sort of led to this type of, I don't know, almost this kind of conceptual type of improvisation. And something I've been finding even my own involvement with the project. I initially was going to be a resident through Esperance. I was going to fly out to Barcelona, create new work. And due to the current context, I was unable to do that. So Stargazer kind of crew kind of generously brought me into the family and worked remote. And it's been interesting from my end, actually, that the physical space in Barcelona has almost become more virtual to me here in New York than the actual Mozilla Hub space, which almost in a way almost feels more real. And I think this type of uncertainty, I think as artists, as technologists, as curators, really just as a general public, has led to this type of fluency with that new 21st century uncertainty and using technology to reckon with it. Absolutely.
How do others feel about uncertainty, especially in relation to this work? Did you feel it as a force, as a creative force, or was it something that we had to battle against while working on this?
I think my feeling in this work, it was a big challenge, and this big challenge that is visionary was also this uncertainty that we don't know how to what are the right paths to arrive to this vision, and that means that we need to explore different options, explore different forests, different gardens in connection with the curatorial theme of Ars Electronica. And I think because nowadays the contemporary art is described more like a process, not like a finish at work. And I think during these last weeks that you were, all of us were cooperating and working very hard, it was very interesting to see the process from the beginning, because it was also uncertainty to know if we will have a real dome like you could see in the back of Cenk and Josecarlos, until everything that was related with the traveling all the participants to Barcelona, and putting together all the ideas, all the not only technological but also visual and conceptual. And I think this work reflects perfectly this concept.
Yeah, I definitely agree. While we started working on this, we had kind of like, first of all, no idea of the tools or the technologies we would use in the end, and it was more like exploration and adventure into creating something together in a time that we are like stranded in different places. And still we pulled it off. And what you said about the processual or the process nature of art, it's going to be fascinating to see how this work kind of, you know, as it starts out, it's like an empty kind of canvas. We kind of give people a space to play with and connect with over to another location, and that in turn, this virtual space in hubs, for example, it will fill up hopefully with all kinds of objects and pictures and memories, and in the end it's going to be like a gallery of its own. And yeah, do you guys have anything to add to this theme of uncertainty at this point, or should we just present the work itself? All right. All right, Kris?
Let's present the work.
Yeah.
It's very exciting because this work it's definitely a product of, as everyone says, these uncertain times. I believe if we had actually all been on location in Barcelona, this work would have been much different. Yeah. And also, before we move forward with it, I just wanted to give it like a huge thanks to everyone in Barcelona who's on the ground. Cenk, Josecarlos, Mohsen. These people have built a dome from scratch, constructed it inside of this gallery, and then also put together most of these technical systems that you'll see at play inside of this installation. So I'm very excited.
Yeah,
so huge thanks.
That's well said. I mean, big kudos to the team on the ground in Barcelona for pulling this stuff off. But yeah, without further ado, let's go on and have I'll share my screen and we'll have a little a video about Stargazer, which we can use to walk you through. So Stargazer is an hybrid artwork that is located in two locations, or it happens simultaneously. And one part is Mozilla Hubs, which is globally available platform for virtual arts, where we can create an interactive world, which then is in interaction with a physical setting, a dome projection site in Barcelona in Espronceda. And this is one of the the things that we of course wanted to achieve because of these times people couldn't come and visit so much these locations like Barcelona or whatever, and we've wanted to find a way if a platform like Mozilla Hubs can help people connect to places and feel a connection which is very different from these kind of Zoom calls or whatever that we have been using for the past months, and create sort of an indirect channel of communication. So Stargazer in what you can see right now on the screen is that this is the Mozilla Hubs room of Stargazer. So first we have a lobby through which people walk into an airlock, which then opens the Stargazer world. And what you can see there in the middle is is the sun, is the center of our star system. Around it, there are these platonic solids, so shapes, which actually Kepler used in one of his early solar system models. So the visual theme comes from Kepler, it's Kepler's gardens in Ars Electronica. And the sun in the center is actually a 360 footage from the projection dome in Barcelona. So you can see the people visiting there. You can see what is projected there, and you can in this way connect from hubs to the projection itself. Then the main way of actual interaction that we've built into this is that people in hubs can, there are many kinds of tools that people can use, like this sort of pen. You can write and draw in the air. You can take pictures from anything you've done in there. For example, you can start writing messages, take pictures of them. You can add in 3D models, for example. And with these, when people take a picture, they can pin it into the world. And this picture is then sent over through the internet mysteriously, like a virtual message in a bottle you put it to float in space, and they are projected onto the dome finally in Barcelona. So you can actually send messages to people over there, and you can start building your own little installations and worlds within Mozilla Hubs, take pictures and share your moments there. You can almost also take, sort of like mixed reality pictures inside the sphere, because you can walk into the 360 projection, which is in the middle, as you can see there. And if there would be people right now in the dome, you would see them live, and you could take actual, pictures and selfies with real people while being yourself an avatar. So accidentally also we've created this sort of mixed reality system for being in touch with others without actually those other people even knowing about this. And it's gonna be really interesting seeing what kind of ways people are gonna invent by putting together all these elements, taking pictures, drawing onto them, adding 3D models, posing with people who are being who are on the video and in the dome, and slowly saturating the space with all kinds of objects, and becoming part of the work like this. So this is also one thing that kind of highlights the process nature of this work. It's like it's not nearly even complete, and it's not supposed to be complete. Like this is a conceptual strength that we have, that we don't have to make complete work, but we want to see it grow, and we want to see people play around with it. And playfulness, I think it's one of those aspects of technology that we should really pursue with arts really intently, because it's one way of actually making a connection to someone else, is to play. And instead of being, you know, too serious about technology and its uses, it doesn't always have to, let's say, solve a problem. It can also, by not doing that, by not solving or assuming a problem, it can really be a healthy and helpful force in people's lives. So anyway, do you guys have anything to add? It's just been a monologue by me so far, but it's I'm just a curator, and you are the ones who have made this happen with your great work. Anything you want to add at this point?
I want to ask also, because Mohsen before he couldn't talk, is and all of you about the visual creation. How it was growing, the concept of the visuals. Mohsen, are you there?
Yes, I'm coming. Yeah, for the visuals, there were two separated like platforms for putting these visuals. One was in Unity for the dome, and another one for Mozilla Hubs. So, but based off both are this Kepler and this geometries, and we put in both, and for the Mozilla Hub we put this sphere to show the video in the center, and also the image that load in the dome, they come floating everywhere around, and you can see it inside the dome in a sphere. Yeah, and I think Cenk can also describe more about it.
Yeah, I think Santeri has explained it quite poetically and nicely about like how we were inspired by the main theme of Ars Electronica dealing with Kepler's garden. And then we wanted to start like originate the work from the universal model of Kepler's Platonic solids and somehow grow our universe around that universal model. And so more or less, we have stuck with that, as this is an experiment, as Santeri has mentioned. This is not a finished work. So it kind of allowed us to work with this experimental idea and connecting two universes, two worlds to each other. And what I'm personally very much fascinated about this work, as again Santeri has mentioned before, this is not a basically I love the idea of like building up VR platforms to provide public spaces and so on and so forth. But this has somehow opened an interesting idea about like connecting with the physical side. And it turned out to be very much of a paradoxical space. And I mean, I love the idea that it concerns the space and architectural space. And we have understood that the dome or the spherical room can provide so much. So there's actually a lot to talk about in this project, not only the web and virtual side of it, but also like the physical side of it. Because this was one of the main ideas, like how we started having these talks during the lockdown. I remember, I think it was our second meeting when we were arguing about like the future of the galleries and art spaces, what is going to happen and what's happening, how can we do something for it? Like, how can we use the technology to do something out of it, like name it scanning and I don't know, any kind of digitization. And it came to here, and during that process, we have understood that we need the physical space as well. In order to connect the worlds, we need physical space, which you guys see in the background, has provided a lot for this experiment. This would be my kind of contribution or comment for this part of the project.
Yes, I think because here I could see in this work two experiences. One is the virtual and one is the physical inside the dome. And the people who are not in Barcelona could imagine the experience inside the dome, but probably perhaps you Cenk and Josecarlos and Mohsen, you could express your emotions when you are inside the dome, because I think it's totally different that when you are in front of a screen or when you are in with a VR headset. What is the difference?
I understand what you mean. Interesting. One of our friends here at Espronceda, when we were testing the last days, the 360 live streaming, he has been inside the dome, seeing the projection and so on and so forth. And I asked them to join the Mozilla Hubs room and meet me in the spherical room or virtual sphere, which is live streaming from the dome. And the moment he entered, afterwards we met outside for a talk, and he said it was very interesting because he knows the space and he's been there, and being there again in virtual, through a virtual gate, it kind of gave him this emotional moment of knowing where you are, like locating yourself in the space and kind of attaching back to your bodily senses and so on. I think that's an interesting combination to approach the physical from virtual world, and or vice versa, which is working paradoxically in this project. So I think there is this emotional layer because you can attach more to haptic and material layer of, rather than just only digital and virtual world, we still want to include the physicality of it somehow.
And also when we have the workshop about the dome with by Esber Studio, they did an introduction how special physically is the form of a dome, because it has also a religious and a ritual concept that no other form could offer. And I think also the experience of the sound inside and the movement around.
Yeah, I love the way how was it Cenk who said that this kind of brings back an admiration of the physical world by being in here, or just being close to a representation of a physical world within a virtual world. So it kind of to me it feels like these times when there's so much, we have to rely so much on technology to connect to other people, finding ways of actually using technology in a way that it feels like well, not just presence, but not even something else than even being in a technological environment somehow is very rewarding, or like finding ways to connect into spaces actually. So it's been very interesting to explore these things with the work.
I think also could be good that the members of the team that were working very hard in the Mozilla Hub area, that was also a big challenge, could talk about Matthew and Berkar. If you could give us your impressions when you were working in this Stargazer with Mozilla, and perhaps if we could evolve to other VR platforms. So what is your vision about the next step of the work?
Did you want anything, Berkar? I guess just real quickly, maybe even kind of bridging that question into the previous one. One of the things I find really interesting with this type of work is, there's kind of like Brechtian notion when you present work, whether you'll sort of foreground the technology at play or whether you'll hide it and let it be magic. And I think what's interesting with a work like this is that I think, and in the 20th century and 21st century in general, is I think we're getting away from pieces and more integrating platforms. So I think what's interesting with this is that, really there's not a lot of content in this work, but there's a lot of structure that we've created making these two things. And going back to this idea of the platonic solid, what's left is a dome. And it's strange then that that's become sort of the metaphor. You know, going back to these questions of what the gallery is. You know, we've gotten away from a white wall and we've gotten into these 360, well, platonic solids. And I think going forwards, like you had mentioned, I think there's these interesting questions around, you know, who has agency, who's creating the tools and the technologies versus who's creating on them. And I think Mozilla Hubs is a very special and very exciting one, both because it's an open source one, and it's one that's extendable in a way that maybe something like Second Life isn't, like Steam isn't. So I think this type of work, this type of experimentation is interesting, because I think we're learning not only what we can do, but also, you know, who kind of holds the controls and the levers and the dials of it. And I know, not to ramble too much, but I know there's been some talk even of the Mozilla Hubs and the Firefox Web XR team kind of having a bit of a shakeup. And I think some folks might know more about that than I do. But I think already, even in the short time we've been doing this work, we're starting to have to ask ourselves very urgently, you know, how we're going to direct that and how we can be self-directed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's been really rewarding to see how you guys have taken this platform that is there, you know, it's there to be used, and actually utilize it for this kind of stuff. Because, you know, the way hubs work is that you can actually share an experience with someone, whether they're using a VR headset or just you know, an iPhone from their homes. And right now the technological barrier between people is still real. In the future, probably not. I mean, right now it feels like the ones who are privileged only have access to virtual reality headsets and so on. But in the future, it's probably going to be vice versa. Only the ones who are privileged can have the option not to be in virtual reality in some way, or actually, you know, travel into Barcelona. But yeah, I'm rambling here. I'm just saying, do you guys, how do you guys feel about the fact that you can reach a very large audience with this, and you can actually empower people to encounter a very different kind of technological experience by having a space that can be even used with a mobile phone? You don't have to have a VR headset right now. I mean, it's a big barrier to lower the barrier for virtual arts in hubs. Do you guys, how do you feel about it?
Well, I think it's very interesting that we're able to democratize this sort of virtual technology because, like you were saying, it is almost exclusionary and elitist at the moment. Like, there is a large barrier for entry, not only financially and technologically, but I think in the future, having access to this sort of metaverse is going to make someone privileged. You're going to be able to be educated. You're going to be able to work. You're going to be able to get this sort of escapist fun and this play that we're all looking for. And you'll only be able to do it through these platforms. And I think I'm rambling a bit too. What was really interesting for me with this project is we were supposed to be on the ground in Barcelona, hoping to construct this piece and being a part of this residency. And that was, you know, impossible given the times. So watching from afar as the physical space came together, the dome was being built with these robotic arms in this amazing factory, and Cenk flew all of these brilliant architects in to put this dome together on site in Espronceda, and there's this amazing technology and projectors and programs I've always wanted to learn. As soon as we get inside of this virtual space, I'm there. And not only am I there, I'm surrounded by friends, and we're able to have this real personal connection. And I think that's very special to me.
Thank you very much, Kris. It's very nice, because also I wanted to add that because some of you didn't met in person. You just met virtually, and that means that it's great that we create this team of for the project with people that never meets in person, but they become a part of a common challenge, a common goal, and also it's a good reason to meet soon in some way. Perhaps we could say a little more how people could participate next days in Stargazer, and also if we are welcoming feedbacks from the people, because like we say, this is a process, this is a project growing. Could you please, Santeri, Kris, introduce how from now the people could interact with Stargazer?
Yeah, absolutely. So once people enter the space, Stargazer, they have to first of all, you know, Mozilla Hubs has their own tools for interacting with any virtual space. So basically, as I mentioned before, you can draw in the air or in the walls. You can take pictures, add 3D objects into the scene. And our main mode of interaction by how you can actually influence the projection in Barcelona and people's experience there is by doing, you know, whatever you want to do. You can pose in pictures yourself, or you can create, let's say, draw messages into the air, or bring in 3D objects, or do whatever you want to, and take pictures of that. And once you've taken a picture, you need to pin it into the scene by, you know, going through the, you have to point at it and then from the menus choose pin. It's going to take a while for people to kind of learn how to operate in this environment, but there's no rush really. But once the image is pinned into the scene, it actually is transferred through a server into the projection site in Barcelona. So it will appear in the projection there, and just then finding maybe ways. I mean, this is also a question to the artists, to kind of like, is there a certain way you wish to see people behave or interact with others through Stargazer, or is it something you would rather leave to people's own imagination? Like, do you want to describe these interaction methods, or, you know, you could try this or that, or rather leave it to secret? To me, this is an interesting artistic question, because I've been wondering, is interaction something that should be explained, or is it just something that people should discover while exploring an artwork? Cenk?
I think I would say it's a really nice question and an important question, I would say, because in this project, artistic product is not very much like Matthew has mentioned. So the structural process of this project has been the architectural and artistic product itself. So I would keep it open for this participatory moments, right? So this has become a kind of a platform, participatory project, which we depend on this virtual and physical participation of the people that kind of shapes the process and the appearance and the characteristic of this project. And we can pretty much experience it inside the dome. So suddenly the participants become the artists, and they produce their art inside, and they produce their social interaction. Because it's super surprising for us. Like, it's been 2 days since we have launched it, and every time we enter, we see a different interaction, different stuff happening inside, and that's wonderful, because we didn't predict it coming. We didn't know that it's going to happen. And again, I would like to emphasize that the I keep saying artistic things happen in the background of this project. Like what Burkhard has managed to do with fantastic work that he has done, like touching on servers, connecting APIs to Unity and so on. It's incredible. And again, coming back to what Matthew has said, like about the structural idea, which I really like. You know, as I mentioned, like we're so much dependent on the physical space as speaking as an architect, but then I would say, so it's changing, right? Like the disciplines are changing. Suddenly Burkhard and Matthew becomes an architect. We're so much need their knowledge in a virtual space. So they are the architects of this virtual space, right? And I like this moment then when we lose our zones and then kind of step off our comfort zone and we meet with other people dealing with the same, having the same concern somehow. Coming back to the question, I would leave it completely open to the participants to do whatever they want inside.
Yes, I think you introduced a good concept that also, and also in creative industries, the people who is working with software and who is creating this architecture in computing is being considered as a creative. And perhaps we could have some words from Berkar to understand also how it was the word that was described as Cenk.
Sorry, could you repeat the last
yes,
half sentence?
Yes, the question is if you could explain to the audience how was the challenge that was connecting all this IP, all this internal architecture of the project in computing senses.
Yeah, the main challenge was that the Mozilla Hubs stuff was really new for me, and so starting from zero to hosting it ourselves on an Amazon Web Services server was challenge number one. And the next thing was that ideally I could have changed I could have built a custom hub. So the posting of the photos would be a little easier, but there wasn't enough time for that. So I hacked together a little workaround that now tries to, over kind of 10 corners, to get to the pictures that are pinned from the users of the room. And yeah. Now it's running, and today I only got one new email that stressed me a little because we are hitting some limits on any Amazon Web Service. I have no idea.
That's good. You're challenging something. That's good. That's good news. Pushing the limits of something. Nice.
Yeah. So I think by 6 o'clock we would have hit that limit, and we would all have gotten errors instead of the Mozilla Hubs room.
And coming back to my last question, I was asking also about, because this project is finally a process, if we could invite also people who is watching now or who will know this project during this week, how they could send us ideas about improvement, other ways to interact. If we could, we create a channel of communication by, I don't know if we could have a space to welcome the ideas or something like that. What are you planning to do? Or an email or something like that?
Yes, we have an email address, which I will put here in the chat and we can link below. It is stargazer202x@gmail.com. And that would be a great place to send us feedback. Also, you could just put it inside of the Stargazer space. Like you can write a little message and take a photo and it'll pin it up in the dome and we'll see it immediately. And if you'd like to participate throughout the week, we have a link here in the chat and that'll be posted below and also on the Ars Electronica website. And then we have a lot of different activations happening through the week as well, including a virtual dance party on September 12th.
Yeah, I love the part of the answer that, you know, show us the way of how to I mean, that's the nature of this artwork, to invent and show us ways in which we couldn't even, you know, dream of using this kind of space. And I'm not ruling out any kind of possibilities how people will manage to do things within Stargazer, but it's also good to have this, this email address that we will post for additional suggestions on how to take it forward. But yeah, mystery is something that fascinates me in this work, and the mystery of connecting and sharing creative ideas with different kinds of unforeseeable means.
And I don't know if we have some videos to show to the audience about the 360 camera, or also about the construction of the dome. Cenk, we have something there?
If we could continue talking about some other stuff, I could prepare it. It's in my folder. 1 second. I hope I will.
Yes,
Yeah,
and what is, I think what is also good with this DOM concept that we are bringing with Stargazer is that we are opening this hybrid real digital formula. And there are other works that are also happening in Spronceda that are connecting the DOM via virtual, but also developing in another immersive room in another city. That means that this Stargazer could replicate, is like a digital being that could appear somewhere in another room or in another space in the world. And I think it's also a good challenge that we could ask for other spaces that could be interested to be connected with our project during this week or after, because we could replicate and we could create these dynamics also in, because what do you think about creating several physical space working at the same time? Will it be possible? How do you see the idea?
I think it's quite possible, and one of the projects during this residency at Immersiva has almost already established that connection. Like, I think if people could follow up the next days, the schedule of the Immersiva and Espronceda, they could see a prototype project dealing with exact topic, and I think it's very impressive what they have managed in a short amount of time. And I think it's going to work out quite well. So I can imagine that what you're proposing, Alejandro, could work out quite well.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with the prospect of a butterfly effect. So if we basically have like many rooms, sort of these virtual spaces connect to each other in some way or another, what are the kind of the effects that are very surprising effects that might happen in the other end when something happens in the other end? Like can like, to me, technology is always something that is very deterministic in a way, but somehow it can really create, surprisingly, these kind of unforeseeable nice effects on something, which to me is also a very useful glimpse of hope in thinking, how can we creatively use the tools of modern technology. So yeah, connecting all kinds of spaces together is very fascinating, and I think we should try do it somehow. And I think Ars Electronica is also doing it with these Kepler's gardens and having hubs as the main thing. Just I don't know how we can connect them more fully, or can we build mechanisms between these two technical mechanisms that can produce these effects. Hopefully, yes.
Yes, and I was also thinking about the concept of the free artificial intelligence, that because we create this Stargazer in Barcelona and Mozilla Hub, but perhaps it could grow rhythmatic without our control, and will be also good to follow this path, that we create the first step, but after it grows free in the world, free with other creative people that are considering to do otherwise. What do you think about?
I don't know. I was just going to chime in. It's great to hear everyone kind of pointing in that direction, because I think it's well, you know, I think we're at a weird fork in the road with that. Because I mean, I think with Ars Electronica or some other ones, we see a lot of these kind of Kepler gardens, these very sort of cute, you know, oh, there's a terminal, I can press the button, I go to another space. And I know maybe some other folks have been following this, but even in, I think Burning Man in the States, you know, there's a lot of these kind of venture capitalist types that are doing the metaverse. And, you know, I think they have this fantasy of, you know, everyone will, I don't know, they'll join a metaverse and they'll all use Bitcoin to buy things. And it'll be this whole kind of shadow economy. And, you know, there's these very kind of like dark speculative futures. But I think, to me, I think that the real middle path with that is the space between connecting platforms themselves. So there is this rhizomic thing. It's not just a matter of a very cute, we each made a Mozilla Hubs room and we can go and we can look at them, but almost kind of like the work Burkhard is doing with this back end of how can these multiple islands be connected in an equitable way, you know, beyond just the content of it, but structurally, how do those speak to each other? Yeah, and I think that's a huge question right now.
Yeah, you mentioned the metaverse. I mean, that's one of the, you know, the future or current political questions of the metaverse, and how it's going to shape up for everyone, and what the forces behind it are, because there are not just interests from whichever, you know, companies or big money or whatever, but also these, you know, very concrete technological means of how these spaces are connected and who rules them, and what kind of agency we can provide to people for them. And I think, you know, one of the ways of answering that question is also to develop things of our own in a way that reflects the creator's, you know, mindset and creator's values. So, for example, Matthew, I've noticed from, you know, from your, I think from some of your Instagram posts, you mentioned like you were doing this project in Mozilla Hubs called Hoops, and you said that, you know, you're reconstructing all these spaces, the physical, you know, the virtual, the ideological. And, you know, one thing that I think virtual reality is a kind of representation of these many spaces. And what is, you know, usually it's just thought of an audiovisual, you know, representation of our physical space, but also, you know, there are big ideological factors that come into it, and this is just a, you know, a future question that I don't think has been talked about very much yet. That what are the characteristics of an ideological space? Very concretely, because this is the question that we approach with these metaverse platforms or whatever. Like, what are the values that they actually reflect and impose on people who visit them? Yeah, but maybe I drifted from the subject a bit. But Matthew, yeah, just I don't know if this constitutes a question really. But maybe, you know, maybe we could talk a bit also about the way that, you know, we have a now, we're kind of like changing subject now. We have a dome now in Barcelona that is connected to Mozilla Hubs. People can experience these by visiting, you know, by cross-visiting these places. But there are also many other works which are now portrayed or exhibited in the dome. And the artists who are present here now are also acting with different works, as Alejandro mentioned before. And do you guys wanna have a word? Like, how do you feel this? Do you feel like Stargazer as another medium where you can project these works into? Do you think it kind of transforms the work itself? So when someone sees, let's say, another projection installation which is happening in the dome over the weekend in Stargazer in Hubs, do you feel like it's a different new work entirely? Does it create a new work because the materiality is now different in the virtual space, or is it still the same work? Or do you feel like there's an evolution there? Because I think this is an interesting question for the future distribution of arts in virtual reality.
Very interesting, Santeri. I could try to comment on that, because I think it comes together with the idea that trying to replicate or trying to be inspired by the Platonic solids, like universal model of Kepler, and then trying to include stars inside. Let's call it stars. What you're referring, what you're saying is actually stars of the Kepler's Platonic solid models. When you say other art pieces being included in Stargazer, which I think is super amazing and fascinating idea to have that. Maybe that comes together with the idea of Alejandro when he talks about this free space, kind of regulating its own destiny and so on, which I would call plasticity of a space that is open to shape itself or to destruct itself. And I think that's quite an interesting approach when it comes to creating an artwork, which can allow other art pieces, or I don't know, it's very interesting and intriguing topic for me to have that space that allows other works to be included inside.
So what else is happening now over the week and the weekend in the dome?
Can I say something before? May I thank all the people that were included in the construction of the dome, because I'm the only one who didn't thank for it yet. And I especially would like to thank Espronceda for inviting Institute for Experimental Architecture, Institute Studio 3, and we came here. It's not on, I don't want to take the whole credits on me, it would be super unfair. It's actually all the students, actually artists who came to Barcelona from Innsbruck in these difficult times as an artist, but beforehand they constructed this dome in a very short amount of time in collaboration with Ascon Architects and Matthias, a fantastic, amazing friend he became for us. So I don't want to skip and forget about it. I really want to thank also this fantastic guy who organized everything as well. So what's going to happen is that there are about 15 projects that are going to be exhibited inside the dome the next couple of days. Very diverse program, very interesting projects dealing with radio telescopes and signals, kind of audio visualizing them, to COVID data visualization, to digital rituals, and very, very interesting projects is going to take place inside the dome. Yeah.
Yes, I think we could talk a little also about what was happening in Espronceda the last 3 weeks. That was international residency with artists from over the world, but also local artists and creatives that were following several workshops into the technological tools like SMOD or other technological tools to use the projections in the dome, and also the challenge to create a work in few days. That I think is very amazing, that finally all the people has the energy and the motivation to work very hard during few days and to deliver a prototype or sometimes a finished product. And also I think perhaps just Cenk, Josecarlos and Mohsen, that you were participating also in this residency. You could talk a little about this ambience in the residency, how the people feel in this kind of concentrate creative meetings.
Well, I feel a nice energy between the people. They came here with different backgrounds, and they mix together to create something new. They are very open to work out of his comfort zone. This is something interesting. The good thing here is that they have all the tools and the hardware and software to develop projects that usually you can do with if you don't have this nice setup and the hardware and people helping you. So I think we are going to see in the future days all these different backgrounds working together, and we are going to see in the results something new, something that we can expect maybe, because as I told you, they came from different backgrounds, different countries, different places, but they came with a lot of energy and to create something special. Actually, it's a nice chance for them after the COVID situation, have a place. We have to feel like lucky to have this chance to meet in this amazing place to create. Because as we know, in many places, there are people who still be in home, or they can come to his normality, you know. So I think we all here are very happy to have this chance.
And I think also it's very important that many artists came from performance. That means that they are introducing also the body in the experience. That I think is a part that is very important when we are talking about immersive experience, because we are not only two eyes and a mind, we are also a body, and we have many experience related with our body senses. And also I'm very happy also about the gender equilibrium, because we have a lot of female artists in the group. That's very good, that we could have also and also different backgrounds, not only artists but also from technical education, and people who are more new in the profession, and others who are now working in the producing digital projects. I think this mix of people is also very productive, because you create a diversity that is also very important in the creative process.
Yeah, it was a beautiful sentiment that we should be, and that people can be thankful and to be lucky enough to be in the same place to create, or connect in any way like this to create, and have some sort of playful vent for or play around with things in this kind of time when things are pretty serious all over the world. So yeah, I just want to say it was a beautiful thing to say.
And now I wanted also, before we end and we see some videos, is also to talk about when the people that is outside could join the Dome Stargazer, because we have programmed a session in the Dome for tomorrow evening in Barcelona, 7:30 p.m. until 10 p.m. We will be all time connected with Stargazer in the Dome. And we invite people, and also during the weekend we could create also periods that we will announce by social media, also in our website, when the Stargazer is live in Barcelona and the people could interact with it. And also in this project, I think it's very important the network of other institutions, a part of the institution from Santeri Helsinki XR Center. We have other international partners, that is the MIT Digital Culture Center in Milan, and we have also the institute that Cenk is representing for its experimental architecture is Studio 3 in Innsbruck. And we have other international partners, the University of Creative Arts. And I think to be in Ars Electronica is also a good moment to do a call for other partners, to other institutions that want to cooperate with this project. We are quite open to share our content, to share our knowledge, and to become more people in the team. I think this opportunity that also Ars Electronica is giving to us, these 120 gardens, that many institutions are involved. Some of them we are connecting soon, because we have also a direct connection on Saturday with the UK Garden, that there are several institutions like Serpentine Galleries, Future of Everything, and other very important institutions in UK. And also perhaps we could invite in some way those gardens that are also in Ars Electronica to contact us during the week. What do you suggest we could do this movement? Santeri, what do what's your idea how we could connect more efficiently all the gardens, saying, hello, we are here. This is Stargazer, and we want to meet you in some way.
I think, you know, the only answer to that is to visit as much places as possible during this and visit the other gardens. Like, I think we have been very absorbed with what we've been creating ourselves. It's easy to forget that there are, you know, over 100 other gardens out there that are, you know, doing the similar kind of stuff, but very different too, and probably struggling with some of the same issues or same questions that we've had, and intrigued by the same questions, and willing also to learn together of this experience. And this learning together is, to me, a very rewarding idea that you know, this could actually kickstart something in the way that we think about creative and playful uses of technology, and connecting to others, like as it has been to us, an experimentation of connecting with others. This could be expanded. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and visit as much of these gardens as possible and connect people in there. And I hope people can find their way into our garden, our installations too, and just ask us anything that comes into mind. Being curious, that's what I try to do, and that's what I hope that people do.
Yes, also because I like very much these rhizomatic connections, that also is part of the inspiration of Stargazer, because Stargazer will be alive when the people interact with because we need people coming to the Mozilla Hub and interacting and creating, and also people coming to the inside the dome to be activated, because if not, it's a dormant project. What do you think about that, this humanity of Stargazer?
Humanity of Stargazer?
I say that Stargazer that doesn't work without humans.
Yes,
we need the interaction. That means that finally Stargazer is also has a humanity concept, because if by itself it doesn't exist.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you know, I can't find a suitable kind of like parallel to it, but that's definitely true. like it's nothing without, you know, people going there and see it, of course. And it, you know, it's an interesting conceptual thought. Like, is it something if nobody, you know, nobody sees it, to kind of like paraphrase the old philosophical problem. But yeah, I think one of the aspects of humanity as a theme is also that which I've probably said too many times already, but that desire to connect with very surprising means to others. And I'm going to try and spend enough time within Stargazer to you know, feel all the potential connections that can be made over there by just observing people and finding some kind of fun and mischief, maybe even a little mischievous way of connecting to them, maybe sending a picture of something and just presenting thoughts in a creative manner. So, and I'm very curious to see what others will come up with that. Yeah. So I was thinking, should we move over to Stargazer actually? And as this is going live on YouTube, we could probably post a link there and get people from over there over to Mozilla Hubs.
Yeah, we should do it. First, though, like personally, a huge thank you to Santori and Alejandro for curating this amazing project, like this entire program, keeping us all together throughout this pandemic. A lot of people don't know, but we were all in a residency together in February that ended right before the lockdown started. And literally every week we've met, and Alejandro and Santori have kept us moving forward and all cohesive. So thank you for your amazing work as well, putting this together.
Thank you. You're too kind. I'm almost I'm like I'm just fortunate enough to be working with you guys, and I have to say, like, I've done very little compared to you. You guys done all the work and all the respect, and my huge respect to all of you, and thank you very much for your kind words, and also to Alejandro to keep this thing moving, you know, and keeping people together. I second that, very, you know, heartfelt. But yeah, it's I think it's much easier being a curator than being an artist. So you've done amazing things, all of you.
Thank you, Santori. I think we see the architects in the background with Mohsen.
We see.
Oh!
Thank you.
Hi.
If we move to Stargazer installation, we can post the link online either on YouTube channel or here. But I have to mention that it might take 15 to 20 minutes to restart the whole mechanism and then to do it step by step, slowly and healthily, so that it doesn't collapse in any case. Yeah. So
Yes.
I ask you to be patient. Maybe it might take 15 minutes to set it up.
Yeah. And finally, thank you.
Sorry, the room is open anyhow, but the live stream might take a couple of minutes to restart or refresh. In any scenario, we're gonna post another link or let you guys know.
Yes. Finally, thank you to all of you to be here and to participate and for your words. I'm very happy to hear that you also enjoyed working in this project, and I think this project is going to be alive for a long. And also, I want to invite people, the audience, to participate tomorrow, because our first session of Stargazer live will be tomorrow, Friday, 7:30. That is CEST, that is the Central European Time, and we will post that in our social channels in Pronceda, and I hope also you could follow the artists that they will be publishing a lot about the experience that will happen in the next days. Okay, and finally, perhaps we could have final words of each of the artists could be nice. Also, talking to the audience, that is, I think, is our finally our audience will be the blood, will be the energy to activate a Stargazer. Please, Matthew, yes, if you could say.
Sure. Gosh, I think it's all been well said. I just want to say huge heartfelt thanks to the whole team for making this happen, because it's been amazing watching this from a distance. So yeah, thank you all. Thank everyone watching. We'll see you in Stargazer.
Berkar, if you want to say the last something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you, everyone. And I hope we can repeat this. And I hope it stays stable.
I also would like to thank everyone, Santeri, Alejandro, and this fantastic family for amazing time that we had together, and it will continue, I'm sure. And I hope the visitors will enjoy Stargazer and will take it further and challenge us. We'll come up with problems so that we can aim for future. Thank you.
Mohsen, please, some words.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really glad to take part of this project, and yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Josecarlos, that is in the background.
Well, I hope everybody can get to the Mozilla Hubs to watch what happened inside the dome. So this week we promise that we are going to be a hotspot of Ars Electronica.
Yes, and finally, Kris,
Yeah.
we're activating very much the social media that involving people. And
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, everybody, and we will see you in the metaverse.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Final word,
Those are very good closing statements. See you in the metaverse. Over and out. See you in Stargazer, guys. Goodbye.